Hey everyone, Corey from Aquarium Co-op. Today, we're going around the fish room. Time marches on, as you can see. The babies are growing. The biggest one, if I can focus on it right up here. And then we've got, even some tiny ones. I kind of keep just adding more and more fry to this. We're might be at the point where I can't add more. I don't want it so where a big Corydora would eat an absolute baby or something, so... But I thought I'd show some of the new fish and just kind of what's going on. I've been working on cleaning up the tanks a little bit because last time people were like, man, tanks look bad. And they kind of did. And so the lights used to be on top here, kind of like this. And so now they're mounted underneath the rack again. And, started cleaning some glass here. Put in the sliders, which a lot of people ask, like, where do I get the sliders? You got to 3D print them, and you can get them on our website. You can or not on our website, on our forum, and then you can print your own type of deal. And so, yeah, kind of working on that. Got some more little ideas to clean it up. Oh, I need to put sides right here. I could probably, if I could find those, which I don't know where they're at right now, but it's not hard to do. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the fry situation. Everything is just kind of making some fry. You can see there's a Rainbowfish fry from the original disaster. And yeah, put in some more Anubias. Sand still. So the sand, okay, so one good thing I would say about the Corydoras, Dean always points us out, they will eat basically debris and everything until there's nothing left. And so that's why this sand is like super clean. And if I can zoom in, actually, you'll see on the filter, it's all on the filter. Corydoras are good at grinding up, basically vacuuming it up and putting it into the water column so that the filter grabs it. We come over here, there's no Corydoras. You can see just all the gunk. Yeah, there's snails. They'll keep breaking it down, but they don't do what Corydoras do. So, little Shodeni puffer. He's still on... this little baby back here, it's not growing the fastest. I probably need to start power feeding him worms. But, you can see there's a snail like right there. So he's not taking them out as fast as I would like. There's fry in here as well. Whereas the other bigger Shodeni puffer, he's taking them out pretty good. So 800 gallon, still looking good. Got the full kind of automation thing working. With the cheaper lighting. The only downfall is now there's more and more cichlids. They do dig debris all the time. And because I've lowered the lighting by like a ton, it means the plants can't grow fast enough to replace the digging. So you can kind of see the plants are getting more sparse. But also at the same time, it's like two curves, like the amount of adult fish skyrocketing, the amount of light went down, and so the amount of digging is, like a 20x how many breeding fish there are. Because there's still just tons of adult. Like that one's got a mouthful of babies, that one has a mouthful of babies. All the yellows are the females, the blue and black stripe are the males. And so I'm still at a crossroads here of what do I want to do? Do I want to keep hanging out with the cichlids, which I'm enjoying? Or do I want to go, hey, let's swap it from the African cichlids because we're still, there's still little babies everywhere. And switch it up. So for now, still kind of just doing same old, same old. Over here, we're growing out a couple of monsters that are going to need a bigger tank eventually. That'd be this flagtail Prochulotus. I always called it in the store the Alice in Wonderland fish. Just always look good. And then you got all these shabunkins, which eventually maybe they go in the pond. Like I'm not quite sure what I'm doing with that yet. And then there's there's going to be a big giraffe catfish in here. And he's digging out underneath there. So not on camera, but I took the big bunches of, this is African fern bulbitis, and I grabbed some of my extra rock over there and some zip ties and zip tied it to it instead of having it float around and do everything. So now it kind of has some fixtures that part of the goal, what I've always done in the past, and I kind of got away from that because I don't know, more focused on video lately, is I would zip tie things to rocks like that. And then when you move the fish and everything, I would move those decorations. If they move into the 800s, so do the decorations. And it made it a nice modular system. So had the dogs out here while we had some work done in the house, some HVAC work. So potty pads. It's clean though, don't worry. But they got to come out here again tomorrow for them to finish up. So leaving it there. Yeah, so, I did the filter on this bad boy, cleaned it, did that off camera as well. Just kind of, when you put in a lot of food, a lot of poop happens in here, and they keep the gravel really clean. So, well, I say gravel, but it's sand. But I'm enjoying the shabunkins. They're just easy, and that's, well, I mean, a lot of the fish are easy, but they haven't been, no fuss to them at all. Get along with everything. You just put the food in, they eat, they swim around, they come up to see you. Some of them are starting to get some pretty cool bristle tail going. That nice fancy finnage they're known for. All right, over here, got a few fry in the fry factory. It's always hard to see. I still want to, this is a stingray. It's not a very powerful light, but it's still way too powerful for, that far above a white container. They just moved in there, so they created a little poof of mulm. So I've been hatching out. So basically, I collect the eggs, put them in there, feed them for a week or two, then I move them to that kind of 10-gallon hatch-out tank that you've been seeing. We were going to talk about new fish, and these are all same old type fish. I did bring in a big batch of Anubias, kind of unintentionally. We ordered a bunch from the farm. It came in way too big. It then got shipped to me, and it got stuck in that crazy snowstorm or ice storm when it was basically like half the country got locked down under ice. It got delayed, and so it took like 7 days to get here, and they took frozen damage. So that's what these are. There were 50 of them, so I was like, I gotta save these. I tried, and I put them in a lot of tanks, and they just didn't make it. So you'll see remnants of things that didn't make it. But other Nubius that we shipped a couple weeks before is doing just fine. So still got a couple babies in here of just some mollies. There's that one. These are the quote-unquote lemon ninja mollies. That guy doesn't look very lemon. I showed these mollies off that kind of I brought in with those lemon ninja, same aquabid person. These are the Dan's fish. Still haven't seen any fry, but I also never saw fry with the lemon ninja mollies till I took the adults out. So, I had Greg Sage over for dinner on Friday night because that's what fit my schedule, and he was talking the next couple of days, and he hadn't seen the lift system, and so this might be a good way to show you guys if you haven't seen it in a while. If I turn the air up here. I'm gonna get it dialed in because I was saying they work as like an actual air lift, so eventually I'm working on it now very, very slowly, but I'm hoping to make like a hang-on back filter that's also a breeder box that also could be an actual filter for a tank while using Airlift. Now it takes a lot of air. You can see there's a lot of air going through there with the fine. But this is the system we developed to be as efficient as you can. Now, you don't need to lift it out of the water. You want it to go across the top of the water. But I was basically showing, Greg that, we can do crazy stuff with water now. My sponge filters are crazy efficient. You could modify something like this to work with your box filter that he likes to use. And, so right now I'm actually working on trying to make some more powerful air pumps. So that you guys don't have to do linear air piston pump, because that's what I'm doing. My big air pumps are what run the whole fish room, and you can't get that much lift off of our battery-powered air pumps. They're not designed to do it. They're meant to conserve energy so that in a power outage, you have air and they're meant to be quiet. Like they got all these things that they're meant to be doing. That, yeah, we just have to design different air pumps. So I'm working on that. I've been testing stuff. I've been figuring out features. How quiet can we get them? These are fish that I brought in from Imperial Tropicals. These are the Livebearers rainbows, I believe. Livebearers? Something like that, yeah. And these are one of my absolute favorites. So I put them in the 40 breeder because I kind of want to breed / just grow them out and enjoy them. And then I put them with the Emperor Tetras that I'm super enjoying as well. Still not a single fry out of those Emperor Tetras. But, they're still pretty to look at. And so, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing with these. I just enjoying. I guess I always feel like I have to, here's my plan. Here's what I'm going to do. And I could just plan to enjoy them. So I think that's what I'm doing. They kind of get lost in the 800 gallon, the ones I put in there. And I still want the guppy tank for the 150 gallons. So these guys are just kind of hanging out here. I got some paradise fish because I wanted to breed them. I don't know if I'm going to do it outside or what. But I got these from Dan's Fish. So I grabbed a 6-pack of them. And so far, just been feeding them and letting them do their thing. I've been putting a few Anubias in there and I put the Madagascar lace, but I'm running low light. I'm trying to, as you guys maybe have followed on maybe the live stream and the Deep in the Mulm, and I'm trying to really cut back on maintenance. So less light, less algae, typically. So kind of been working on that. And so plants grow slow is what the result of that is, slow growing plants, or can be anyway. Over here, this tank's kind of turning around, or starting to. The moss, it got eaten up by the goodeids I had in there, so that kind of sucked. And then I put these Anubias cophifolia, so that was in one of the shipments before, and now they're growing and looking good. And, you've got this trio of guppies that, yeah, the pictures, this is a classic example where the pictures looked amazing. And so when I put them away, I'm like, yeah, I think these are the ones I'm going to love. And it turns out yeah, they're just okay. They didn't warrant a 40 breeder. I should have had them in a 10. There's other fish I got in that shipment that I would have put in here instead, but for now it's fine. Over here, still just raising up way too many Alfero colstratus, which is the knife Livebearer. Took all the adults to the store so that I could just raise up all these babies, and then I'll bring those. What's cool about them is they have the blue eye. So let's see if I can get that on. Oh, come on. Focus on that guy. Well, they've got a nice blue eye, and they are Livebearer. They get nice yellow, kind of light yellow, light blue color to them in the right light. And, yeah. So once they're done growing out, we'll figure out what we're doing. Mostly it's Crypt Garden of Cryptnuri. And you can definitely see I'm not putting enough fertilizer in here. How do you know, Corey? Well, you want that coloration. And I haven't been putting in root tabs. I've been relying on the liquid fertilizer. And so the tops, the bigger leaves are just mostly green. So I need to get in here and put a bunch of root tabs in is really what it comes down to. But, still got a lot of shrimps in here. Just doing what they do. Also got the Pinocchio shrimps keeping me algae free. Right there. And I need more. These guys are just looking cool. Hopefully they won't swim off the minute I try to focus on them. But these pit bull plecos, still no breeding action out of them. But they're cool little buddies. So these ones are all lighter colored, right? And then you got this darker one over here in front of that rock. And so I think I have 5, maybe 6. I think I originally ordered 6. I think I lost one. Can't remember. But yeah, not the most groundbreaking stuff. Just kind of trying to keep the fish room roughly clean when there's things like air pump projects and yeah. Oh, in fact, here's a little prototype of the little hang-on back we're working on. And you're gonna say that doesn't look useful at all. It's a miniature size. It's not meant to be used. In fact, to print it, it's in this weird shape. We're why would you make it that shape? You wouldn't. We're 3D printing and testing things. But when it goes to actually be like injection molded and everything, it'll be a completely different shape because we won't have to adhere to things like that. So, yeah, just working on little things. Here's a lid for cultures. And you might say like, well, that what does that do? You see all those little dimples? Those are holes. See, does the light trick work? Yeah, you see how you can see through it? You can't really see through it with the naked eye, like barely. And so this works great for microworms and that kind of stuff. And it just screws on top of a lid. So kind of playing with that, you know, trying to see. I probably need to adapt and make this fit the Magic Small Fish Feed and the Community Pellet 1 pound containers. Oh, speaking of which, there's going to be new stuff coming out probably like maybe the day after this video or something like that. Some of it's going to be, let's see, do I have any of it? No, it's not going to be that. It's going to be this. It's not even going to be that technically. It's going to be something like this. You've seen it before. I was calling them like the chicken nuggets, where they kind of crumple up. Let me get some of my hands here. I'll show you. But we went with the 2.5 millimeter, and so this is twice as big as what we'll be selling. But what it is, it's Magic Small Fish Feed that would just float. So, okay, bigger Magic Small Fish Feed, people want that. But then also, you can just crumple it up. So you see how you can make it like whatever size you need to make it for your fish. So in theory, you could have one size that feeds a bunch of different types of fish in a bunch of different fish tanks. So, maybe we'll launch something like the 5 millimeter pellet if this ends up being, or not pellet, but nugget, if this becomes really popular. But nuggets that are this big, they're kind of meant for fish this size, where they're like 4 to 6 inch. So they love it. But I just don't know if we have a big enough market on that yet. And what I mean by that is, like, I've got to buy like $50,000 at a time, and with tariffs and just all the stuff going on, like that's big bets that we can't really afford to make. Also, we've got some other foods in the pipeline as well, and then trying to, I've been doing testing and trying to see, like, do I want these sinking larger pellets versus that? Because we're still working on a sinking pellet. I still would love to have our own flake food. I still use Extreme. There's still working on it. So, but I don't just release things to release them. Like, we could launch a bunch of things and technically they're all fine, but I want it to serve a purpose. And so having the crumble, I think, does that, because you can feed it to big fish, but you could also grab this, which the 2.5 is the perfect size because like rainbows and other things can eat it without having to crumple it up, like in the bigger tetras, right? And then if I come over here, like some of these fry, like we'll do the corridoras here. I'll just give them a bunch, and you can just crumble it down into like the fine powder, or leave it a little more chunky. And so you can kind of see there's different sizes there. And if it gets real small, it can do the Magic Small Fish thing or Magic Small Fish Feed thing. Otherwise, it just kind of, so the bigger chunks will float, smaller chunks will sink. So, yeah, it can be very useful if you're the type of person that just wants to feed one thing, where I go through with Magic Small Fish Feed, then I come back with a community pellet, then I come back with some sinking foods, then I come back with frozen for like the eel and some of the other specialized eaters. But I think it's going to fill a role, especially for fish stores, breeders, all that kind of stuff. And plus, people have wanted a bigger size Magic Small Fish Feed. So the community pellet made out of the same ingredients, but not the exact same formula. Where this is the exact same formula as the Magic Small Fish Feed, and so it'll make it real easy. You can see these guys starting to get down on it. This is the first time they've gotten it. Most times they just get the Magic Small Fish Feed. So, Yeah. You can see some of the bigger chunks finally starting to sink back there now. And you can see still stuff going mid-water. And so it's a food that still will go around quite a bit. But, yeah. So mostly just been working on things, and not everything I can show, or I'm not ready to show. And a lot of automation. Been working on that. It's been super cool. I got energy monitors installed, so I'm trying to work on a video to show like how much energy aquariums use, because someone left a comment like, I got out of aquariums because of my energy bill. And that really made me think of just like, yeah, but you should never do that. Aquariums can be so cheap. So for instance, the way this aquarium's run, it's got 2 canister filters, right? And all of this lighting, it's a lot of lighting. It's like 1,000 watts of lighting. It's a lot. This tank takes more energy than the rest of the room combined. So all of those tanks, the 150 gallon, all of these 40s, and the 230. And it's because all of the 40s just run on air, like big air pumps. And the air pumps use 40 watts each. I run 2. And what's crazy is if I don't run the 800 gallon, I only need 1. So of the 2 air pumps I run down there, one of them I added specifically just to get air deep enough into that tank. You can see a lot of air going through it, and it's going deep. So if I unplug one of the air pumps, it no longer has the power to do that. So kind of one of the reasons why this takes more energy than everything. And so what I wanted to point out was kind of, one, what would it take? You know, how many watts of energy and everything would it take? We got a video coming out on cold water fish. That's going to kind of tap into it. Something like the paradise fish, for instance, they definitely don't have to be heated. Like they go really cold. I'm not going to do the whole video, but there's a lot of things that don't need heat at all in your home. And so if you don't have to heat it, there goes a lot of the power bill. If you just use a lower powered light, which LEDs are pretty efficient now anyway, but doesn't use a whole lot of power, and then you use like an air pump with a sponge filter that uses like 4 watts, you're going to be like, yeah, my fish tank costs me $2 a month. Like it's a very low cost, and they scale even better. Like the bigger the air pump, where it gets expensive in power. And I switched these lights over. I don't think I showed you guys that. Where it gets expensive in power is actually from canister filters and hang-on back filters and the heaters and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, in this tank, I've got we removed all the barbs, and ever since, we've just been growing more and more algae. So I think I was hoping that the orange or the lemon ninja mollies, which are right there, we're going to work on hair algae and stuff more. And I put, the alpha black swordtails in here, and they just don't want anything to do with it. So I'm considering adding either Siamese algae eaters or flagfish. The flagfish will probably munch on the guppy grass. And so the guppy grass went in here to give lots of fry cover for the guppies and the mollies. If they eat on that, there goes a lot of that cover. So I'm torn between which two. You can see a blackbeard algae growing on my Madagascar lace. And this happened, by the way, before I swapped lights. So it wasn't like, oh, you swapped the lighting. It's literally because I took the barbs out and there was nothing working on the algae, and this tank was in a different balance. That's why this tank had this problem. That's why they lived in here for so long, and then it came back. So unless I want to do barbs again, which I could. Yeah. And you can see the fish, they are picking at it, just not enough. There's some guppies picking at it. Down here you can see the one kind of in the back doing that. And this swordtail's doing it. So it is a food source, but they're just not nearly as voracious as the barbs were. Still more eggs I could pull. There's 4 more eggs right there in the center. For corridor eggs. They're laying like every day or every other day. There's a few more I didn't pull yesterday right down here. So they usually get eaten overnight if I don't pull them. But you can see like this plant, I need to plant it down. This is Vesuvius, and you can see some stuff's pearling, the aquarium co-op lights that I put back on it. Different coloration, less intense red. but also less energy, and just I would grow. The plants would grow faster. The algae grows faster. But I'm trying to talk through while filming. I put faster growing plants in here that I don't want to grow faster. Like guppy grass is already going to grow really fast. If you're trying to grow it, I can get it to grow like at least a foot a week, at least. And then I put the Pogostemon stellatus octopus in here. And so that's starting to kind of take off in this corner. And I need to bulk up. The algae eaters in here are basically none. There's a few old snails, but I don't think I have any autosynclus. For the plecos, I have candy stripe plecos that you really never get to see unless you move decorations. They're mostly eating meat and wood, and so they're not really algae eaters. And so I probably need to throw in like a bristlenose, a few autos, a few maybe Siamese algae eaters or flagfish, and then in a week or so they will munch through all this. And I think maybe that's what I should talk about. If you're newer to the hobby and you haven't really experienced that, a lot of people would see this and be like, "Oh no, it's over." And I see something like this and I'm like, "Yeah, we're 1 week away from it looking amazing." Like, what? Just get the right things that want to eat it. Like the fish in here are already helping. On camera, you're seeing the fish nibble at the algae. Like this fish right here is doing it in the front. And so it's real easy though to like freak out and go, "I've got to fix this problem." And you fix it too hard. You get too many algae eaters, they polish it off in like a week, and then they're really hungry. Now, if you're running an ecosystem, which is what I prefer to do, over time, as the mollies, the swordtails, and the guppies have babies, or more babies, I should say, more adult fish nibbling at algae, it will just turn the tide. And so it's on one hand, I do want to fix it because it doesn't look great to me. On the other hand, it's like I know time will fix this. Like you can see there's a baby right there. Like as that little baby in the back swimming grows up to an adult, that's one more adult chewing at algae. And in a tank like this, normally what you can't see is like, yeah, but in the weeds, there's like 50 of those. And so if I do nothing in 6 to 8 months, this problem will just be solved anyway. There's another, call it side effect of taking out the barbs. You can see all the trailer fins on the Bolivian rams. So if you look at their tail fin, you see the little streamers on it. No barbs to pick at them, so they're getting longer, which is just kind of a cool thing to see. So yeah, this is basically my community tank back here with all these different Livebearers, and I just want more babies. And so the key for me normally with more babies is more cover. And so the cover's growing in, as we're starting to see. I should mention that also, as more plants grow, they utilize more nutrients, which starves out algae more. And so, I just got to hit equilibrium. After taking out the bioload of the barbs and the tetras that were in here and the rainbows, and then replacing it with much more minimal fish, like I feed way less when I come to feed, that upsets tank balance as well. So, yeah, look, if she would just drop her fry right there, if she would just drop, there'd be 100 red alpha babies in here, assuming that other people don't eat them. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. I also had had a death in the family I had to take care of as well last week. So you might have noticed, hey, there was no video last week. Yep, that's what happened there. So yeah, but still enjoying fish, still enjoying looking at snail poop. Hopefully you guys are too. Look at that snail poop. A snail. So okay, to prove, like, look at the snail poop right here. It's green. Like, that's a lot of green snail poop. That's just a ram's horn snail. I could load up with a bunch more of those, and that would also do quite a number on this. Is also, I said also about 10 times also. So, yeah. All right, I'm going to cut it off. I've run out of things to talk about. Sorry. I just like burped because I just had lunch. I've run out of things to talk about because too many things can't be talked about yet because they're in development. So thanks for hanging out, and yeah, thanks for being members. If you're members, thanks for buying from us, and I'll see you in the next video.